The neon lights of Nexus Station cast strange shadows across the crowded marketplace. Captain Marcus Webb adjusted his worn leather jacket and scanned the chaos of aliens. Humans and hybrids trading goods from across the galaxy. The air smelled of exotic spices and engine fuel, a combination that had become home to him over the years. Near a broken fountain, something caught his eye. A figure hunched against the cold metal wall, wrapped in tattered cloth. Marcus moved closer. He saw her clearly. She was unlike any alien species he knew, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the artificial light and long silver hair that fell like moonlight around her face. 3 Valorian merchants surrounded her, their reptilian features twisted with disgust. One kicked at her with his scaled foot while the others laughed. The girl, barely more than 20 in human years, pressed herself smaller against the wall. "Move along, freak," one Valorian hissed in broken standard. "Your kind brings bad luck." Marcus felt something stir in his chest. He had seen cruelty before, but something about her quiet suffering touched him deeply. Without thinking, he stepped forward.
"That's enough,"
Marcus said, his voice calm but firm. The Valorians turned, their yellow eyes narrowing. "Human, this does not concern you?" "Everything that happens on this station concerns me when I see someone being hurt for no reason." Marcus placed himself between them and the girl. "Walk away." The largest Valorian bared his fangs, but something in Marcus's steady gaze made him reconsider. After a tense moment, they retreated into the crowd, muttering curses. Marcus knelt beside the girl. Up close, he could see the exhaustion in her violet eyes, the way her hands trembled from hunger or fear. Her clothes were little more than rags, and strange markings covered her arms like intricate tattoos. "Hey," he said softly, "are you hurt?"
She
Looked up at him with wonder, as if kindness was a foreign concept. When she tried to speak, only a whisper emerged. I have nowhere to go." Her voice was musical, with an accent he couldn't place. Marcus felt his heart skip at the sound. "What's your name?" "Azara," she said, the word barely audible. "I'm Marcus." He offered his hand. "Come with me, Zara. I'll get you some food and a safe place to rest." She stared at his outstretched hand as if it might disappear. Slowly, she reached out and touched his fingers. The moment their skin met, Marcus felt a strange warmth spread through him, like electricity, but gentler. Zara gasped softly, her eyes widening. "What was that?" Marcus asked, but she only shook her head. He helped her stand, surprised by how light she was. Her legs shook with weakness, so he wrapped his arm around her waist to steady her. The contact sent that same warm sensation through him again, as they walked through the station toward his ship. Marcus noticed how other aliens avoided looking at Zara directly. Some made gestures he recognized as wards against evil. Whatever she was, her people feared her. The Wanderer sat in Docking Bay 7, a mid-sized cargo ship that had been Marcus's home for 15 years. As they climbed the ramp, Zara looked around in amazement. "You live here?" she asked. "It's not much, but it's mine." Marcus guided her to the small galley. "Sit down. I'll make you something to eat." While he prepared a simple meal, Marcus stole glances at Zara. In the ship's warmer lighting, her beauty was even more striking. The markings on her skin seemed to pulse with faint light, and when she smiled at the food he offered, her whole face transformed. "Thank you," she said, tears glistening in her eyes. "No one has been kind to me in so long." Marcus sat across from her, watching her eat with desperate hunger. "How long have you been on Nexus Station? 3 days? Maybe 4? Time feels strange here." She paused between bites. "The transport captain left me here when my credits ran out. Said I could find work, but ... She gestured to herself. "Oh. No one wants to hire someone like me." "Someone like what?" Zara's expression grew guarded. "Different. Cursed, they say." Marcus leaned forward. "I don't believe in curses. Only in people who need help." Something shifted in Zara's eyes, a vulnerability that made Marcus's chest tighten. Without thinking, He reached across the table and covered her hand with his. That warm sensation flowed between them again, stronger this time. Zara didn't pull away. Sanctuary in the stars. 2 hours later, Zara had fallen asleep in Marcus's spare quarters. He had given her clean clothes and watched as she transformed from a frightened refugee into something almost ethereal. Even sleeping, she seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. Marcus stood in the doorway, unable to look away. It rescued stranded travelers before, but never had he felt this strange pull toward another being. Every instinct told him Zara was special, possibly dangerous, but definitely worth protecting. A soft knock at the ship's entrance broke his thoughts. Dr. Niven, the station's chief medic and Marcus's old friend, stood at the airlock. "Heard you?" "Picked up a stray," Niven said. His weathered face creased with concern. "The Valorians are spreading stories. They say she's some kind of weapon." "She's just a girl who needed help." Niven raised an eyebrow. "Marcus, in 30 years of practice, I've learned to spot danger. The whole station is talking about the blue-skinned one. Some say she can kill with a touch. That's ridiculous." But Marcus remembered the warmth that flowed between them, the way Zara's markings pulsed when their skin met. A soft sound from behind made them turn. Zara stood in the doorway, having changed into the clean clothes Marcus provided. The simple shirt and pants somehow looked elegant on her graceful frame. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I didn't mean to cause trouble." Niven studied her with professional interest. "May I?" He gestured toward his medical scanner. Zara nodded, though Marcus could see her tension. The scanner hummed as it passed over. Her body and Niven's expression grew increasingly puzzled. "Fascinating," he murmured. "Your cellular structure is unlike anything I've seen. These markings on your skin, they're not tattoos. They're part of your nervous system, connected directly to your brain and heart." "What does that mean?" Marcus asked. Before Niven could answer, Zara swayed on her feet. Marcus caught her, and the moment his arms wrapped around her, both of them gasped. The warm sensation was stronger now, almost overwhelming. Zara's markings blazed with silver light, and Marcus felt a rush of images flash through his mind. Pain, laboratory tables, voices speaking in a language he didn't recognize. And underneath it all, a loneliness so profound it made his heart ache. "Zara," he whispered, and she looked up at him with tears streaming down her face. "You felt it," she said. "You felt what they did to me." Niven backed away, his scanner forgotten. "Marcus, this is beyond my expertise. She's not just alien, she's been modified, genetically altered." "By who?" Marcus demanded, still holding Zara close. "The Helix Corporation," Zara said, her voice barely audible.
Ow.
"They took children from refugee camps, said they were offering medical care. Instead, they made us into living weapons." "Weapons for what?" Zara pulled away from Marcus's embrace, though he could see the effort it cost her. Empathic manipulation, emotional control. They wanted soldiers who could break enemy morale with a touch, or heal allies by sharing their pain. Marcus felt sick. "Did you escape?" "I didn't. I was rescued during a raid by the Free Systems Alliance. But by then, the modifications were permanent." She looked down at her glowing markings. "I can't turn it off. Every time I touch someone, I feel their emotions, their memories, and they feel mine. Is that why people fear you? Fear, pain, anger, they're overwhelming. But you, ... She looked at Marcus with wonder. "With you, I feel something else, something beautiful." The air between them crackled with tension. Marcus stepped closer, drawn by forces he didn't understand. "What do you feel?" "Hope," Zara whispered. "And something I thought was lost forever." Their faces were inches apart now. Marcus could see flecks of silver in her violet eyes, could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. Slowly, carefully, he cupped her face in his hands. The connection exploded between them. Not pain this time, but pure emotion. Marcus felt Zara's overwhelming gratitude, her growing affection, her desperate need to be accepted. And she felt his protective instincts, his loneliness, his awakening love. When their lips met, the universe seemed to shift. Zara's markings blazed like stars, and Marcus felt as if he was drowning in light and warmth and something that transcended physical sensation. They broke apart, breathing hard. Niven had quietly left, understanding that he was witnessing something private and profound. Marcus, Zara said, her voice shaking, "There's something else. The Helix Corporation didn't just modify us for war. They put tracking devices in our bodies. Eventually, they'll come looking for me." Marcus pulled her closer, his jaw set with determination. "Then we'll be ready for them." 3 days after leaving Nexus Station, the Wanderer docked at mining platform Omega, a rough outpost carved into an asteroid deep in the outer rim. Marcus had hoped they could lay low here while he figured out how to remove Zara's tracking implant. Platform was a maze of tunnels and chambers, filled with miners, smugglers, and others who preferred to avoid official attention. Perfect for hiding, Marcus thought, until he saw the sleek hunter ship in the adjacent docking bay. "Stay close," he whispered to Zara as they made their way through the crowded trading post. She had pulled a hood over her distinctive silver hair, but her otherworldly grace still drew looks. They had barely reached the cantina when a massive figure blocked their path. The alien stood 7 feet tall, with obsidian skin and burning orange eyes. Scars covered his muscled arms, and weapons hung from every available surface on his body. "Corax," Marcus breathed, recognizing the most feared bounty hunter in the Secta. "Captain Webb," Corax rumbled, his voice like grinding stone. "You have something that belongs to my employers. I don't know what you're talking about." Corax's laugh was without humor. "The Helix weapon. They're offering quite a reward for its return. Dead or alive." Zara stepped out from behind Marcus, lowering her hood. "I'm not a weapon. I'm a person." "Debatable," Corax said, "but valuable either way." Marcus's hand moved to his blaster, but Corax was faster. The bounty hunter's energy rifle was aimed at Zara's heart before Marcus could draw. One move, human, and she dies. Though I suppose that would complete my contract just as well. The cantina had gone silent, patrons backing away from the confrontation. Marcus's mind raced, looking for options. That's when Zara did something unexpected. She reached out and touched Corax's weapon. The bounty hunter screamed, stumbling backward as images flooded his mind. Through their connection, Marcus felt what Zara was showing him: the laboratory, the experiments, children who didn't survive the modifications, the horror of being turned into a living weapon against your will. Corax dropped his rifle, clutching his head. "What? What did you do to me?" "I showed you the truth," Zara said quietly. "About what they did, about who I really am. But the distraction lasted only moments." Corax's training overcame his shock, and he reached for another weapon. Marcus grabbed Zara's hand and ran. They raced through the mining tunnels, emergency lights flashing red as station security responded to the disturbance. Behind them, Corax's heavy footsteps echoed off the metal walls. "This way," Marcus gasped, pulling Zara into a maintenance shaft. They crawled through the narrow space, emerging in the asteroid's natural cave system, where miners had carved out deeper shafts in the darkness. Surrounded by the smell of rock dust and mining equipment, they pressed against each other for warmth. Zara was shaking, whether from cold or fear. Marcus couldn't tell. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I've brought danger to you." "Hey," Marcus tilted her chin up, meeting her eyes in the dim light. "I chose this. I choose you." Something in his words broke down the last of Zara's barriers. She pressed closer, and he wrapped his arms around her. The connection between them flared to life, stronger than ever. "I've never felt safe before," she said against his chest. "Not since I was a child. But with you." Marcus stroked her silver hair, marveling at its softness. "You are safe, I promise."
Ow.
She looked up at him, and in that moment, surrounded by danger and uncertainty, they found something pure and perfect. When she kissed him this time, it was with desperation and hope and a love that burned brighter than stars. Their enhanced connection let them share everything: fear transformed into courage, loneliness into belonging, despair into fierce determination. In the depths of the asteroid, hidden from their enemies, They discovered that some bonds transcend species, circumstance, and even the modifications meant to weaponize the heart. Hours later, as they held each other in the darkness, distant sounds of searching grew closer. Corax hadn't given up. "We can't hide forever," Zara said. Marcus kissed her forehead gently. "Then we fight together." Truth and Transformation, the rebel base on Tethys, one of Saturn's moons, appeared to be nothing more than ice and rock from space. But beneath the frozen surface lay a sprawling complex that housed the Free Systems Alliance, the organization that had rescued Zara years ago. Commander Elena Torres greeted them at the airlock, her weathered face showing both relief and concern. "Zara, when we lost contact with you on Nexus Station, we feared the worst. They found me," Zara said simply. "If not for Marcus... Torres studied the human captain with calculating eyes. "You've caused quite a stir, Captain Webb. Corax doesn't usually fail to claim his bounties." "He hasn't failed yet," Marcus replied grimly. "He's still hunting us." In the base's medical facility, Dr. Vasquez, a brilliant surgeon and researcher, examined Zara's tracking implant. "The good news is, I can remove it," she announced after hours of scans. "The bad news is, the procedure is extremely dangerous. The implant is integrated with your nervous system." "What are the risks?" Marcus asked. "Memory loss, motor function damage, or ... Vasquez hesitated. "Complete loss of her empathic abilities." Marcus felt Zara's shock through their connection. Those abilities, as much as they had brought her pain, were part of who she was now. "There's something else," Torres said, producing a sealed file. "Something you need to know about the Helix project." As they read the classified documents, the full horror became clear. The children hadn't been randomly selected. They had been chosen for their latent psychic abilities, which the modifications had amplified and weaponized. And Zara hadn't been just another subject. "You were the prototype," Torres explained. "The first successful fusion of organic empathic abilities with bioengineered enhancements. Every other subject was based on you." Zara stared at the files, her face pale. "You mean? All those children who suffered, who died in the experiments, were trying to replicate what made you special," Torres finished gently. Marcus felt Zara's anguish as if it were his own. Through their bond, he shared her guilt, her horror at being the template for so much suffering. But he also felt something else, a growing resolve. "You have to stop them," Zara said quietly. "The Helix Corporation is still out there, still creating weapons from children." "That's not your responsibility," Marcus said, though he already knew what her answer would be. "It is. I'm the key to everything they built. If I can disrupt their systems, show the galaxy what they really are." She looked at Marcus with desperate hope. "But I can't do it alone." Before Marcus could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the base. On the main screen, a familiar ship appeared against the starfield. Corax, Torres muttered. "How did he find us?" The answer came from Dr. Vasquez. "The implant. Even here, it's still transmitting." As the base's defenses activated, Marcus made his choice. He took Zara's hands in his, feeling their connection burn between them like a physical force. "Whatever you decide, we face it together," he said. Zara's smile was radiant despite the dangers surrounding them. Together. Surgery to remove the implant would have to wait. With Corax's ship approaching and Helix forces potentially behind him, they had bigger concerns. In the base's war room, the strategists planned their defense. Marcus and Zara stood apart from the others. The knowledge of her true importance to the Helix project had changed something fundamental between them. "Are you afraid?" she asked quietly. "Terrified," Marcus admitted, "but not of dying. Of losing you." She pressed closer to him, and there. Empathic bond flared with shared determination. "Then we make sure that doesn't happen." As Corax's ship entered weapons range and the first shots lit up the darkness of space, Marcus realized that love had made him braver than he ever thought possible. Love conquers all. The battle for Tethys Base raged through space and across the moon's icy surface. Corax had brought more than just his hunter ship. 3 Helix Corporation cruisers had followed him, their black holes bristling with weapons. In the base's command center, Marcus and Zara worked side by side, coordinating the defense while Dr. Vasquez prepared the surgical equipment. They had decided to risk the implant removal operation even as the battle continued. "The surgical bay is shielded," Vasquez explained. "If we can get you there safely, I can begin the procedure." But as they moved through the corridors, explosions rocked the base. Section wall collapsed, separating Marcus from Zara as emergency bulkheads slammed down. Zara's voice was filled with panic. "I'm here," he called through the barrier. "I'll find another way around." But before he could move, Corax's massive form filled the corridor behind Zara. The bounty hunter had somehow breached the base's defenses. "End of the line, weapon," Corax growled, raising his rifle. Zara turned to face him, no longer the frightened refugee from Nexus Station. Weeks of safety and love had transformed her into something powerful and determined. "Name is Zara," she said calmly, "and I am not a weapon." She reached out with her abilities, not to cause pain this time, but to show Corax something different. Through the empathic connection, she shared her memories with Marcus, their first meeting. Their growing love, the joy of finding acceptance, and belonging. Corax staggered under the assault of pure emotion. "What? How are you doing this?" "Love," Zara said simply. "It's stronger than fear, stronger than programming, stronger than whatever they paid you." For a moment, the bounty hunter wavered. Marcus could see the conflict in his orange eyes, the battle between greed and something approaching conscience, but training won out. Corax raised his weapon again. That's when Marcus found his opening. The emergency bulkhead had damaged the corridor's power systems, and he managed to overload the circuits. Sparks flew as the lights went out, plunging the area into darkness. In the confusion, Marcus tackled Corax from behind. They fought desperately in the darkness, Marcus's smaller size offset by his determination to protect Zara. The fight ended when Zara, drawing on reserves of strength she didn't know she possessed, used her abilities to overwhelm Corax with every painful memory from the Helix laboratories. The bounty hunter collapsed, unconscious. "The surgery," Marcus gasped, helping Zara to her feet. "We have to remove that implant before the Helix ships track us again." In the surgical bay, as explosions continued to rock the base, Dr. Vasquez worked with steady hands to extract the tracking device from Zara's nervous system. Marcus held her hand throughout the procedure, their empathic bond allowing him to share her pain and give her strength. When the implant was finally removed, a small, crystalline device that pulsed with malevolent energy, Zara's relief was overwhelming. "It's over," she whispered, but the battle above continued. The Helix ships, having lost their tracking signal, began bombarding the moon's surface randomly, hoping to destroy their target through brute force. "We have to stop them," Zara said, struggling to sit up despite her weakness from the surgery. "You need to rest," Marcus protested. "No," Zara's eyes blazed with determination. "I know their systems. If I can get close enough to their command ship, I can use my abilities to shut down their computers, disable their weapons." It was a desperate plan, but with the base's defenses failing, it might be their only chance. Using a stolen shuttle, Marcus piloted them through the chaos of the space battle. Zara, still weak from surgery, reached out with her enhanced abilities. Touching the minds of the Helix crew through their ship's computer networks, what she found there chilled her. Orders to capture her alive, or failing that, to destroy the entire moon to prevent her from falling into rebel hands. "They're willing to kill thousands of people just to stop me," she said, horror in her voice. "And we stop them first," Marcus replied grimly, as they approached the command ship. Zara extended her abilities further than she ever had before. Instead of sharing pain or fear, she projected love, the love she felt for Marcus, the joy of finding acceptance, the hope of a future free from fear. The effect was devastating to the Helix crew's conditioning. Soldiers who had been trained to see her as a weapon suddenly experienced her humanity. Commanders who viewed her as a threat felt her desperate desire for peace. One by one, the Helix ships powered down their weapons. Some began retreating. Others simply stopped fighting, their crews overwhelmed by emotions they had been trained to suppress. In the shuttle, Zara collapsed from the effort. Marcus caught her as she fell, their connection flaring with shared triumph and exhaustion. "It over?" she asked weakly. Marcus looked out at the scattered Helix fleet, their threat neutralized not by superior firepower, but by the simple power of love and understanding. "It's over," he confirmed, kissing her forehead gently. Later, as they stood together on Tethys Base's observation deck, watching the stars wheel overhead, Zara marveled at how far they had come from that first meeting on Nexus Station. "What happens now?" she asked. Marcus took her hand, feeling their empathic bond settle into something peaceful and permanent. "Now we choose our own path. Together." "Together," Zara agreed, and in the reflection of the stars, their love burned brighter than any weapon ever could. The Helix Corporation would continue to hunt for their lost prototype. And there would be other dangers ahead, but Marcus and Zara had discovered something the scientists had never intended to create. Not a weapon, but a bond that transcended species, circumstance, and fear itself. In the vast darkness of space they had found there light in each other,